Texting. We are back here in the mid-sack segment 2 on a slug 'em back Sunday. NFL season will be in literally a month. We are 1 month from where it really gets serious. But segment 2 tonight is tribute to one of the all-time great Boston Bruins, who undoubtedly will be in the Raptors very soon. His number will be anyway. And he will headline most likely the Hall of Fame class of 2026 in the NHL Hall of Fame. That is one Patrice Bergeron, who just recently retired this past week. Gave him a shout out on Wednesday night, but I wanted to devote a segment to this man because, damn it, he deserves one. Hall of Famers and guys that spend their entire career in one place in today's modern world is very rare. And for this man up there behind me to spend 19 seasons wearing the black and gold, true professional, second round pick, 45th overall, ended his career with an NHL record, 6 Selke Awards. For those of you who don't know what that is for the best defensive forward in hockey. Nobody likes to play defense. This man reveled in it. Okay. He ended a 38-year drought, or helped end a 38-year drought, and won the Stanley Cup back in 2011. He went to 3 Stanley Cups overall, played one of them with a separated shoulder, for Christ's sake, against the Blackhawks. I don't know where to begin with him. I guess what I would say at first was that, and I've said this to Tom at length, and Joel briefly joked about it the other day via text, about how spoiled I've been as a sports fan in my lifetime. I'm now 50 years old, and the list of athletes I've had the privilege to call my own or represent my teams would make most people throw up, if we're being honest. Going back, I was born in 73. Right off the bat, Dave Cowens, who won league MVP the year I was born, and the Celtics, who were continuing their dynasty, just coming out of the Bill Russell years. They won 2 titles in the 80s. And then in 79, in 78, they drafted some guy named Bird. Maybe you've heard of him. Who saved, along with Matt Johnson, literally saved the NBA. And Joel and I joke about this all the time, but if Larry Bird isn't in your top 10, you know nothing about basketball, of your all-time greatest NBA players. If he's not in your top 10, you know nothing about basketball. So don't ever talk to me. It's not even biased, because if you listen to his peers talk about him, I would argue most players feared him more than Michael Jordan, given what people say about him. His feats were legendary, and the fact that he was never the best athlete in the floor, and he was the best player on the floor until his body gave out, that alone is Bird. But this is not about Bird tonight. This is about Patrice Bergeron, who, that's where he is in the pantheon of athletes. Going from Larry Bird, marvelous Marvin Hagler, who was the middleweight undisputed champion for 7 years. And when they had the 4 Kings, and the 4 Kings, so you don't know boxing, Hagler, Leonard, Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, Roberto Duran. That was the era of kings. And there hasn't been an era like it since. And Marvin Hagler was the best fighter in that group. 65, 3-2, never got knocked down once in 68 or 70 career fights. That alone, never hit the canvas once. That's crazy. Doug Flutie wins the Heisman in 1984. Then we had a lull after Bird retired. We had Ray Bork, Cam Neely, Carl Yastrzemski, Jim Rice. It's just John Hanna, Stanley Morgan. I can go on and on. My favorite hockey player growing up was Rick Middleton. No one even talks about Rick Middleton, how great he was. Talk about tough. That guy played without a helmet. So I have been spoiled. The 90s were really the one bad period for me when nothing really happened, so to speak, in terms of no championships. That 10-year period was awful for me. But even in those 10 years, the Patriots got to the Super Bowl in '96. Drew Bledsoe got drafted. Bill Parcells was the head coach. Then we had to deal with Pete Carroll at the end of the '90s. And then some guy named Belichick took over. Most people consider him the greatest football coach that ever lived. So most people. And then in 2001, some guy named Brady got drafted. So I have been more than spoiled. The Red Sox break the curse in '04. David Ortiz, Big Papi, Pedro Martinez back in the 90s. I mean, Roger Clemens, who I can't stand, but he was an all-time great pitcher. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of how freaking spoiled I've been. And now there's this guy who I said this in my tribute, or my brief shout-out, not tribute because this is the tribute. The thing that people really need to listen to is that for a man to win a defensive award, a record 6 times in a sport that is 106 years old, he owns that record as the best defensive forward ever by that standard. If he won that award 6 times, that would probably make him the best defensive forward that's ever played the game. And yet, and I said this on the show the other day, in 106 years of the NHL, only 97 players have broken 1,000 points. This guy is number 79 on that list, ranked 79th. So he scored 1,040 points, and he was a defensive guy. That tells me he wasn't a defensive guy. It tells me he was the best two-way forward of his generation. Okay, and he's got the Stanley Cup. He's got a ring, so you can't hold that against him. He should have had more, but I blame the team this past year more than I blame him for that. But because he won the Selke this year on his way out at 38 when he was supposed to be dipping, he wins his 6th Selke award. So let that stand on its merit. The other neat thing about him, and when he retired, you started to hear not just tributes. Sidney Crosby wrote him a great letter thanking him for just getting to know him, just being in his life, and the professional that he was. You keep hearing this word about this guy, professional. There are some athletes around here that need to understand what that word means, because this guy personified it. Professional. Not crybaby, not prima donna, okay? Not narcissistic egomaniac. Never talked about himself in the third person, I can tell you that right now. This guy personified it. His teammates say it. His peers say it. Even athletes in other sports. Bill Belichick commented on him this week. Matthew Slater, who's arguably the greatest special teams player in NFL history, was talking about how this guy, are you kidding me? He is one of the greatest athletes in Boston sports history. Okay, these are from other sports, people talking about him. People in the Red Sox have brought him up this week. So, and I'm sure the Celtics at some point will address this since they shared the building with him for 19 years. He was the definition of professional. And the highlights, I mean, there's so many to choose from. I mean, the first one that comes to mind to me is the game winner in Game 7. There's that word, Game 7, when legends are made. The Bruins are down 3-1 in that game. They come back and win 4-3 in overtime. He hits the game winner in overtime to beat the Leafs and send the Bruins to the next round. Game 7, that's when your bones are made. That's when legends are born. Then there's the goal in Game 7 again in the Stanley Cup against Vancouver, where he's skating after the puck, and a guy rips him down from behind. The penalty's going up, and he's on the ground with the back end of his stick, the butt of his stick. He hits the puck and scores, going down on the ice against the goalie, which ices the game, and they win the Stanley Cup. That goal to me is right up there with Bobby Orr's goal, where he's in the air. That goal's right there, because that ended it right there. And I was in Maine with some dear friends of mine, Sean Darcy, Tracy Darcy. My wife was pregnant with Mia. My brother-in-law Brian and Pam, we were up there. They gave us all black and gold shots. Went around them when they won the Stanley Cup. I mean, that was one of those moments. Where were you when that happened? So this is the guy. You know, he did that. The first hat trick he had, where he actually got it twice. It was against Carolina, where they took the first one, and then he scored the hat trick later on in the game against Carolina. I mean, there's just a lot of memories and they're all good. They're all good. They're memories that will last me the rest of my life. And as a sports fan, I remember saying to Tom, because I've had so many guys like this. I mean, Tom's got Patrick Ewing, which is one's better than none, but Ewing never was able to win a championship. He got close, but he never won one. I would hope, regardless of who your team is and where you are, because all I ever look for in fans is that they're loyal to their team and that they're from that area. I can't stand when people from different parts of the country just glam on to a superstar team or a superstar player over there. That drives me up a wall. That's why I can't stand my two brothers, because they should be Patriots fans. My dad's best friend played for them, for Christ's sake, so that was enough motivation to watch the Patriots, because they root for the other Boston team, but then Mark's a Steelers fan and Pete's a Cowboys fan. That's pathetic. You ought to lose your fan card right there. When not only that, your dad's best friend played for them. And you still don't root? They both say, oh, they're my second favorite team. That's bullshit. That's like they gave me shit about me saying the 49ers were my second favorite team. No, I like the 49ers because they beat them in the 80s when my team couldn't. But thankfully, thanks to Tom Brady, he evened the score, more than even the score. He did. But this guy here, I'll remember him for the rest of my life. His banner, his jersey, I should say, will hang here forever as long as we're doing this show with Russell and Brady. He will go up there. He will be up there next time we're at the bar for the show. Going forward, he will always be there because he's an icon. And he should have got more than one Stanley Cup. Still pissed at the Bruins for that. That was more them than him. Management not getting enough players, enough talent. And this year when they had everything, they still found a way to blow it. Around him when he was hurt, they couldn't pick up. They blew a 3-1 lead. So I'm still mad at them, but not mad at him. No. With him, it's all a heartfelt thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bergeron, for 19 years of consistency, of professionalism, of we, not me. In many ways, you were a throwback. You really were. And it's going to be very weird not seeing number 37 skating around the ice next year. And it's going to take some getting used to. It's not like he's going somewhere else like Brady did. At least he was still playing. You could root for him. But I'm going to miss him. I know that there's a very large fan base up there in Boston, a very devoted, loyal, but probably the Boston Bruins fan base is one of the most loyal in all sports. That team could go 0-82 and they'd still root for them. That are going to miss him and are feeling this right now. So I wanted to just take a short segment just to show my appreciation, my gratitude for one of the all-time greatest Bruins. And just so you know where he is, he's third all-time scoring the Bruins. He outscored Bobby Orr. So I mean, Bobby Orr led the NHL in scoring twice. Only defenseman to do that. He's an icon. This guy will be up there next to him, next to Raymond Bourque, who was the best defenseman of that era, most likely. Finally got a Stanley Cup, but he had to go somewhere else to get it, which still pisses me off. I'm not mad at Ray Bourque for that. I'm mad at the Bruins for that. But Cam Neely's up there. Esposito's up there. I mean, so that's where he's taking his place, deservedly so, among the all-time great Boston Bruins. That is what he is. And as long as we're doing this show, that jersey will hang behind me in tribute to the greatest Bruin I've ever seen and my favorite Bruin of all time. So Patrice Bergeron, a heartfelt thank you. I'm going to miss you. I love you. And I wish you nothing but the best in retirement with your family. Every good thing that comes to you in the future, you deserve it. And thank you for showing the world what it means to be a true team player and a professional. Because you talk to anybody about this guy, and those are the first words that will come out of their mouth. So that's going to do it for this segment tonight, for IDD Tonight. We will return on Wednesday. The Women's World Cup will be in the round of 16. Team USA is facing Portugal. A win or a draw, and they advance to the 16 round. They are going for a 3-peat. We will highlight that on Wednesday, plus training camp updates, and we will look back in and see how the Red Sox are doing out there on the left coast. So until then, you guys get through Man Up Monday and Token Back Tuesday. We will see you Wednesday night, the redoubtable one, and I hope the fixture will return. For IDD, for those who know, I don't disagree. This is the highly questionable argument of that show. We will see you in 72 hours. Or is it 96? We're going to go 72. Oh, by the way, shameless plug. If you haven't watched it, it's in its 15th season. Archer. Animated series about a drunken playboy, assassin, field operative, being a spoiled, rich, drunk mother. The laughs it's painful. It's painful. It is gold. It is gold, Brian McCosh. Gold. So we will see you guys Wednesday night. Till then, don't be Aaron Rodgers. Stay loose.